Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The feature race at Emerald Downs on Sunday, heck, the feature race in the entire Pacific Northwest region all year long is the Grade 3 Longacres Mile Handicap. It's a race you can bet with a DRF Bets account. Sign up, get 10 times your bonus. Bet 20, get 200. DRF.com/bet is where you need to go for that mega deal. Here's the field for the Longacres Mile. Short and select field of 6. The number 2 Alert Bay is 9-5 on the morning line. And let's start with Alert Bay. By far the most accomplished horse in this race. He has banked $1.2 million. He is just a cool old horse, but we have not seen him in over a year. And it probably had to be some sort of significant injury that kept a horse that Bayard 101 in 2 out of his last 3 races on the sidelines.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's been gone for a long time now, over a year. And the other thing that you have to factor in a little bit, he's 0 for 2 at Emerald Downs. He's acted well on the dirt in the past, but maybe this isn't his favorite surface. He's the kind of horse, to me, in the way that I look at this race. Short field. The other horses would need to step their game up considerably if the old Alert Bay shows up. He's not the kind of horse that you're supposed to be betting, I don't think. But boy, if he can still walk, he is way the horse to beat.
If the old Alert Bay shows up, he's supposed to beat this field. His merits speak for themselves. They jump right off the page, but that double layoff line jumps off the page as well at 9-5, and I have to admit it frightens me a little bit. If you believe pace makes the race in a short field, how about Cabrage as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this year's Longacres Mile? This stretch-out sprinter is expected to clear to the lead. He blasted 43 and change, and I know Emerald's a quick racing surface last time out. He was able to beat Oh Marvelous Me. He was also in for a $40,000 tag. But this horse has been a stakes-winning sprinter at Turf Paradise and other places, and if they leave him alone, distance is a big question, but if they leave him alone, maybe he could make them pay at a price.
Yeah, the distance is the only thing that concerns me, because even if you think he goes from, let's just say, 4th gear when he's out there in sprint races to 3rd gear, I don't know that he can help himself but go a half mile and 45 and change. And at that point, are you going to be able to handle that final quarter of a mile? I think the other piece, too, some of these other horses have decent tactical speed, whether it is Mach 1 rules or one of the other horses. They're not going to be that far out of it, I don't think. And really, at the end of the day, that final quarter, that's kind of the thing that concerns me with Cabrage.
Conquest Windy City pulled off a huge upset at Gulfstream earlier this year when he defeated multiple Grade 1 winner Mind Your Biscuits. It was a triple-digit buyer effort. It had the connections buzzing and a little bit excited, but it was over an intensely inside speed-favoring track where Conquest Windy City got to the lead, was able to get over to the rail, and had everything go his way. He was dressed up by that performance. That being said, he has taken on some real serious competition in his subsequent 3 dirt starts, 2 back against Honorable Duty, who returned from that race to finish 2nd in the prestigious Grade 1 Foster with a 96 buyer. Conquest Windy City has faced better horses than the one he's in against on Sunday.
Yeah, he really has. He's the class of the field as far as who he's faced outside of Alert Bay. Recently, anyway. The concern now becomes, even considering that, you look at how he's been running, the form that he's been in. They try him on turf. They've been running him long. They've been running him short. I don't know what kind of form he's in right now, and I do wonder if this is a little bit of a product of, this is going to be a short field. You have back running lines that are good enough to be competitive in here, and it's a $200,000 purse. Maybe you just take a shot. To me, he's the kind of horse that I would just fade.
Mach 1 rules down towards the inside has been in the exacta 16 of 23. The beaten favorite in last year's mile when finishing 2nd behind Southern California import Gold Rush Dancer. He earned an 88 buyer in last year's mile, but since then, he hasn't been able to get over the 83 mark. To me, it's a little bit disappointing. He just hasn't seemed like the same horse, and he came into last year's mile in better form than he is in now.
Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. I do think there's a little bit of a case to be made, though, that you look and see what he's been doing for the most part after the mile. He's been running at shorter distances. He ran on synthetic, ran on turf. I do wonder, this is finally what he wants to do. Now, the question, again, remains, is he good enough to continue on? And I think you only have to look back at that Mount Rainier most released recently. He got his doors blown off by Barkley. I have a hard time imagining him turning the tables on that one.
Oh Marvelous Me is the uncoupled stablemate of morning line favorite Alert Bay, and he's been on the board in his last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 races, winning 6 out of 20 in his career. Now he's stepping up out of the optional claiming ranks, but it was nice to see that he could handle the mile last time out.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is the kind of thing too, as well. That outside draw, I think that's beneficial if you think that those other couple horses are going to go out there. Cabrage, perhaps he gets a little bit of heat down from the inside as well, keeping him company. Maybe Oh Marvelous Me is a horse that doesn't have to come from that far out of it. And I think it's interesting. This is another Blaine Wright trainee. If he thought that Alert Bay was just going to blow the doors off this field, why run two when you only need one? Just something to consider.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Longacres Mile. I don't think it's necessarily a slam dunk, but I'm going to go with Barkley, who's won half of his 16 lifetime starts. And in analyzing the handicap horses in the Pacific Northwest, Riser just seems like number one. Barkley is number two. Mach 1 Rules is number three. That was the order of finish last time out in the Mount Rainier, a race in which Riser just controlled it from start to finish. And Barkley really had no chance, just saving ground throughout. He gave Riser a look at about the 3/16 pole and was simply second best. Now, maybe he was sucked along to that 94 Beyer speed figure. His Beyers recently couldn't come close to that. But if you go way back, he was capable of winning with a 92 Beyer. That was the Governors of 2017. I think he's got a little bit of tactical speed, and there's no Riser in this year's field.
No, there's really not. And I mean, again, if you just think that Mount Rainier is sort of the prototype for a race like this, and you strip Riser out of it, all of a sudden Barkley goes right to the top of the list. To me, this race boils down to, if you think Alert Bay can still run, he's probably going to win. If you have questions, like I have questions, even though I picked him, Barkley all of a sudden becomes a really, really interesting alternative. Because the other piece too is, no matter how bad, like whether you think he's the horse to beat or not, Barkley can't help but be 2-1, 5-2, simply because Alert Bay is going to get bet in this spot. This could be one of those rare instances where you have the informed horse that's going to offer a little bit of value, and maybe he's actually the best horse in the race at this point now.
You're going with Alert Bay. Again, if he returns as the old Alert Bay, he's supposed to win. We kick off a 50-cent pick four. You're not singling him.
No, I absolutely not, and I hope I'm making it clear. I'm probably not betting him either. I'm picking him because we're doing picks, and I think if he can still walk, he's the best horse in the race. I have to use a little bit of Barkley, obviously, for the reasons we just spoke of, but I'm also interested in the other Blaine Wright horse. I think that outside horse, Oh Marvelous Me, I know it's a hike up in class, but there's something to be said about recency. And like you said, this horse is just rock solid, first or second in each of his 6 or 7 most recent starts. Those would be the 3 horses that I would use.
3-2-6 for me as well. I'll go with Barkley in the Grade 3 Longacres Mile. Remember, sign up to DRF Bets. Take advantage of this new deal. 10 times the sign-up bonus. Bet 20, get 200. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for race number 8 at Emerald on Sunday. The Grade 3 Longacres Mile Handicap is 5:39 Pacific. Best of luck.